Okay, we are moving on to standard form. So we've looked at slope-intercept form, point-slope form, and now this is standard form. Standard form is written as ax plus by is equal to c, where a, b, and c are integers. That means no fractions, no decimals, pretty clean looking. Now, why would we use standard form? Standard form is better for intercepts, finding the x-intercept and the y-intercept, and that's exactly what this whole video is going to be about, is finding the x and y intercepts in standard form. So, in this first example, it says find the x and y intercepts of 3x plus 4y is equal to 12. Now, just a reminder that the x-intercept is when y equals 0, and the y-intercept is when x equals 0. So we're going to do exactly that just to find the intercepts. So let's start with finding the x-intercept. So if the x-intercept is when y equals 0, we're going to plug 0 in for y in this equation. So let's rewrite this as 3x plus 4 times 0 is equal to 12. So we have 4 times 0, which is 0. And as we know, by additive identity, anything plus 0 is itself. So this 4 times 0 goes completely away. So now we have 3x is equal to 12. And we're going to solve for our x. So we divide by 3 here, which makes that go away. What we do on one side, we have to do on the other side. So we're going to divide by 3 here. We have 12 divided by 3, which is 4. So our x-intercept is equal to 4, which is going to be the point 4, 0. And now we're going to solve for the y-intercept. The y-intercept is when x equals 0. So we're going to do the same thing, but plugging in 0 for x in this original equation. So we have 3 times 0, which is x, plus 4y is equal to 12. So again, we have 3 times 0, which is 0, and 0 plus 4y is going to be 4y, because as we know by additive identity, anything plus 0 is itself. So we can rewrite this as 4y is equal to 12, and we're trying to solve for y here, which are y-intercept. So we need to undo what has been done to that y. So we're going to divide by 4. That makes this 4 go away. And what we do on one side, we have to do on the other side. So we're going to divide by 4 here as well. So in this case, we have 12 divided by 4, and we get y is equal to 3. So our y-intercept is 3. So we could write that as 0, because when x is 0, y is 3. Alrighty, moving on to the next example. Find the x and y intercepts of 5x plus 2y is equal to 20. So we're going to start with the x-intercept. X-intercept is when y equals 0. So we're just going to plug in 0 for y. We have 5x plus 2 times 0 is equal to 20. We have 2 times 0, which is 0, and anything plus 0 is itself. So now we have 5x is equal to 20. And we need to undo what has been done to that x. So we have 5 next to x, which means it's being multiplied. So we need to do the opposite of that, which is divide. So we're going to do 5 divided by 5. What we do on one side, we have to do on the other side. So now we have 20 divided by 5. And 20 divided by 5 is 4. So we have x is equal to 4, which means our x-intercept is 4. If we were to write this as a point, it would be 4, 0, because x is 4 and y is 0. And now we're going to find the y-intercept. The y-intercept is when x equals 0, so we're going to plug in 0 for x. We have 5 times 0 plus 2y is equal to 20. So we have 5 times 0, which is 0, and by additive identity, anything plus 0 is itself. So we can rewrite this as 2y is equal to 20. Now we need to solve for y, because we're solving for our y-intercept. So we need to undo what has been done to that y. So we have 2 times y. To undo that multiplication, we need to do the opposite of that, which is division. We have 2 divided by 2. And what we do on one side, we have to do on the other side. So we're going to divide this 20 by 2 as well. And we get y is equal to 10. And if we write this as a point, then we would have 0, because x is 0, 10. It's important to write these out as points, because we'll be using that as we start graphing these. And our next example here, find the x and y intercepts of negative 9x plus 15y is equal to 45. So again, we're going to start with our x-intercept, which is when y equals 0. So we have negative 9x plus 15 times 0 is equal to 45. So we have 15 times 0, which is 0. By additive identity, anything plus 0 is itself. So we could just rewrite this as negative 9x is equal to 45. In this case, we're going to be dividing by -9. So if -9 divided by -9, that's fun to say. And then we do on one side, we have to do on the other side. In this case, we have a positive divided by a negative, so I know my answer is going to be negative. So we have x equals -45 divided by 9 is 5. So x equals -5. So if we write this as a point, we have -5, 0. And we're going to solve for our y-intercept, which is when x equals 0. So we're going to have -9 times 0 plus 15y is equal to 45. And we have -9 times 0, which is 0. And by additive identity, anything plus 0 is itself. So we can rewrite this as 15y is equal to 45. And we need to undo what's been done to that y. So we're going to divide by 15. Those go away. We divide the other side by 15 because we have to do the same thing on both sides. So we have 45 divided by 15. And that is going to get us 3. It's not y is less than 3. That's supposed to be y is equal to 3. So if we write this as a point, we have 0 because x is 0, 3. And we have one more example here. Alrighty. Find the x and y intercepts of 2x minus 6y is equal to 12. Now, be reminded that if we have this minus 6y, that just means it was plus a negative 6y. So this is the same equation. So find the x and y intercepts. We're going to start with the x-intercept, which is when y equals 0. We're just going to rewrite this as 2x minus 6 times 0 is equal to 12. So 6 times 0, which is 0, and anything minus 0 is just going to be itself. So we can rewrite this as 2x is equal to 12. We need to undo what's been done to that x, and it's been multiplied by a 2, so we're going to divide by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1, and by multiplicative identity, anything times 1 is itself. That's why this x is itself. What we do on one side, we have to do on the other side. And so we need to divide this side by 2 as well. So we're going to have x is equal to 12 divided by 2, which is 6. And if we write this as a point, we're going to have 6, 0. Alrighty, and now we need to find the y-intercept, and that is when x equals 0. So we're going to have 2 times 0 minus 6y is equal to 12. So we have 2 times 0, which is 0, because by 0 property multiplication, anything times 0 is 0. And then this case, we have 0 minus 6y. So we're going to leave this as a negative 6y. Negative 6y is equal to 12. Now we need to undo what has been done to this y. Why? Because we want to solve for it. So we're going to divide by negative 6. Those are going to cancel out. And we must do the same on the other side, negative 6. And we have a positive divided by a negative. So this answer is going to be negative. And we have 12 divided by 6, which is 2. So y is equal to negative 2. And if we write this as a point, we're going to have 0, negative 2. Alrighty, and there you have it. That is using standard form to find x and y intercepts.